Okay, again, let's start off with a synopsis of Gravity in case you've never seen this movie. So we have Dr. Ryan Stone, played by Sandra Bullock, who is a medical engineer on her first shuttle mission to space. And during a routine spacewalk performed by Dr. Stone and veteran astronaut Matt Kowalski, who's played by George Clooney, disaster strikes. The shuttle is destroyed, leaving Ryan and Matt stranded in space with no sign of hope of rescue. So, as follows, I want to start off with some information I think is important to know before we move on to the scenes and debunking. So, what is gravity? Gravity is a natural phenomenon by which all things with mass or energy are brought towards one another. So, for example, Earth's gravity gives weight to objects, and of course, us humans. Why we don't float around, and it's why we kind of stay in place, stay grounded. Gravity in space, however, does exist. It is everywhere. It is true that gravity decreases with distance. So, to be positioned far away from a planet or star and feel less gravity is definitely a possibility, and can be observed clearly when astronauts are in space and have this weightless feeling, or you see them floating around their spacecraft. Let's move on to surface tension. So, it's the tension of the surface film of a liquid caused by the attraction of the particles in the surface layer by the bulk of the liquid. If that didn't make any sense, it's okay. Here's an example. So, have you ever seen an insect float or slide along a water surface? Well, this is a great example of how surface tension allows for insects, which are denser than water, the ability to do so. I have a fun little video to kind of give a visual of surface tension.
Princess, your boyfriends from the circus are here. There she is.
Hello there, girly bug.
She'll fly, don't bother me.
Say, why don't you tell our pal Fud what you said to us at the circus?
Yeah, something about buzzing around a dung heap.
Excuse me. Hi, I represent an ant colony, and we're
Hey,
just...
bartender, Bloody Mary, all positive.
Sir?
Circus are here.
So in this scene, you see multiple examples of surface tension. I guess a better way to explain it is that the water particles are bound so tightly together that its membrane is hard to penetrate. So that's why you don't see the water splash around and break apart. Another important thing to know before we debunk our scenes is Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion states that objects at rest stay at rest, and objects in motion stay in constant motion unless acted on by an external force. So let's keep these all in mind as we watch these two scenes from Gravity. The first scene I'm going to play, try looking closely at Dr. Stone's tears.
I know, I'm gonna die. Everybody knows that. But I'm gonna die today. Funny that, to know. But the thing is that I'm still scared. I'm really scared. Nobody will mourn for me. No one will pray for my soul.
Do you see those tears just floating around the spaceship? Just keep note of that. The next scene is when Kowalski and Stone are tethered together and he releases the tether. Let's see what happens.
gonna start pulling you in.
Hey, Doc.
Just hold on, hang on. I am gonna pull you in.
Ryan,
I'm gonna
listen.
pull you in.
You have to let me go.
No.
The ropes are too loose. I'm pulling you with me. You have to let me go, or we both
Not
die.
letting you go. We're fine.
No. Ryan, let go.
No. You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
It's not up to you.
Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. No. Please don't do this.
You're gonna make it, Ryan.
All right, let's get straight to it. All right, so I have some fun videos that will help me debunk these scenes, but first, let's keep in mind what we just watched. So for the first scene, when Dr. Stone is crying, I asked you to keep note of how her tears fell off her face and started floating away. I think we should keep in mind that, or I guess let me inform you, that surface tension is extremely dominant in space. So rather than falling on the ground as tears eventually would on Earth, water will collect on an object in space and kind of create a shape dependent on what surface it lies on. So yeah, let's watch this fun video of someone crying in space.
Are you here? Here we go. So, just as if I started crying, my eye is full of tears. But you can see it just forms a ball on my eye. In fact, I can put more water in. And so if you keep crying, you just end up with a bigger and bigger ball of water in your eye. Until eventually it crosses across your nose and gets into your other eye, or evaporates, or maybe spreads over your cheek, or you grab a towel and dry it up.
So obviously some water particles were floating away, but this was because he was capping the source that he was getting his water from, and that's where the droplets were coming off of, not his actual face. So that's just a really great depiction of how this scene was wrong in the movie and what would have actually happened if she was crying in space. The next thing I wanted to talk about, which was bring us back to Newton's first law of motion, is the scene where Kowalski lets go of the tether. So, when Stone and Kowalski are attached to the cord and the cord goes taut and doesn't give any more stretch, they should all be moving at the same speed in the same direction. There shouldn't have been a reason for the cord to have become this way. So, if they are experiencing the same constant motion and there is no acceleration, then there's also no force. Likewise, when Kowalski lets go of the tether, there is no force pushing him further away from Stone. He should have remained stationary. Or if this movie was really zero gravity, the tug would have brought them together. And here is another video of people in space kind of showing Newton's first law of motion.
Got there, Pedro. Not much is happening. The ball is just hanging there in midair. Pedro blows on it and it moves because of the force of his breath. Now the ball is moving again, except this time Alexander has stopped it with his hand. And this time...
So here we go. This is Newton's law of motion, first law, just depicted so accurately and not so much like the inaccuracies from the scene I just showed you. So again, I really hope that these explanations and this information helped me inform you the inaccuracies of these movies. Again, I do want to state that sci-fi movies are still incredible. They're great works of art, and it's a great foundation for people to stay curious and expand their knowledge base.
Got there.
Are you here?
okay? Here are my sources, and thank you for watching.